I call myself, and people call me Boste. And but my stage name when it comes to poetry is the the Black Flower. And actually, speaking of the COVID, was it COVID-19 or COVID 2020? I don't know. The trend says, I did actually, after coming from a lockdown, publish a book as well about different pieces of myself that, I was forced to endure during the lockdowns. So I decided that before I share, I will read a couple of those. It was a very limited edition, and I haven't really, read this. But yeah. Whew. I walked past the mirror and saw myself. She called for a pause that I couldn't afford. If I don't rest, she will swallow me down. But I keep moving as if I'm racing time. Yet the truth remains, our subconscious always know what we need, a quiet whisper and knowing guide to live a fulfilling life, so we must listen. So in silence, I found the link to breath, time, and life. Meditation became my pause, my stillness. Take a moment and remember. Align your presence with the purpose of your existence, for our consciousness is always calling, drawing us back to where we belong. I'm a pollinator, a creator, a great force of energy. I'm embracing the boundless power within me. I'm a force even when I'm alone. For in solitude, I thrive and bloom. Being loved by myself is enough. It gives me immense joy, a quiet, unshakable contentment. To heal, you must first see the know and know your wounds. Feel their pulse, their weight, for the healing process is for everyone. We all carry something we can release. We all hold the key to making life better for ourselves and for those around us. Healing is the work of a lifetime, but it begins within. We're healing the wounds of generations, wounds that we didn't even know we had. Have faith in the moon when the sun is hidden, for healing is not a straight path. You're not just healing yourself, but the next generation too. You're breaking the chain. You're the reason it won't run through the next generation. I found words, I found my voice. I saw my reflection clearly in the mirror. And suddenly a new rhythm danced through my life. A fresh melody in every step. I hear more than I did before. I feel it all deeply and fully. I am allowing myself to thrive so you can find your own security and foundation too. For whatever it is worth, you're worth it, of it all too. So this book was actually titled Unsung, and the reason behind it, I kept thinking of like it was a transition in which that I was looking at back in my journey growing up. I was an only child, being raised by a single mom. And I don't know who taught me this. So, but my first message, I just knew, I always felt like it was important not to be a difficult person or a difficult child specifically. And this concept follows me everywhere. I never really want to be a difficult partner, a difficult neighbor, and all of this. So in that, I process things most internally, so I don't, put my burdens on other people. So during that process, I felt like it was like all of these things were coming up. But another thing I wanted to share was my first experience, starting my healing journey. I was 17, I think turning 18. And the idea of therapy or healing or anything terrified me because I was like, where do we even begin, you know? And I'm very sure that just even in the room of like a couple of people that I know and many strangers, we can relate to that, because I think the way we grew up, there's so many layers of things. When we talk about trauma, you can begin when we look at like the trauma we have by ourselves from our parents, our grandparents. Even that alone is like, whew, it's a lot. So I was like, you know, that sounds like a really long journey. Then I'm going to have to spend my whole time, my life in therapy. So it terrified me, especially that it would be, I thought going to therapy was going to be, I don't know, opening stuff and talking about all of these things. I just didn't feel like it was worth it. And I'm 28 now, and to be honest, I'm still terrified of therapy. Very much so, because the idea of talking about stuff kills me. So I will share the first experience, actually. The first time showing up, I had missed about, I think, 4 sessions, just being like, I can't do it. Like, this does not make sense. One day, I actually arrived to see my counselor, and she was like, had great energy, and she was like, hi, Aline, nice to meet you, and all of it. And immediately I was like, no, this is not gonna work. So I just headed back, and she didn't force it and everything. So eventually, one day I gathered the courage and everything to show up. And it was a session that was supposed to be, you know, 45 minutes to 1 hour. And I swear to you, those 45 minutes to 1 hour, I was just crying. I didn't say anything. I was just crying the whole entire time. So it just made me think, like, if I was carrying all of these tears every single day, sometimes without even knowing why, you know, you just feel like you have a heavy heart and all of these things. And I was like, I'm very interested to know why. Actually, that's what kept me coming back, because the first session really just made me feel like I'm not a very big crier. I'm not crying in all of these things. So if I cried that much, there must be something there, you know, I need to come back for it. So, and then that was their journey, you know, and second thing about it was that I thought it was gonna be a straight line that has that, a kind of like end. You know, like you reach a final line, they give you your Nobel Peace Prize, and they're like, you have graduated, you're now a healed person, go back to the society. But it really hasn't been that way. I think now I think more therapies for me has been more about self-awareness and really just enjoying life every moment. And when I feel like I'm reaching that moment of heaviness and all of it, at least I know that there's a place that I can go to and find, you know, and break, what's the English word? Ngabi sowanura, you know, and then open what's actually causing me to do this. So there's a piece I shared last time that I was in spoken word before I talk about my work. It was, you know, you would think as someone who started therapy at 17, 18, you know, this year alone in the beginning, I was like, very, very, very feeling like I'm lost, right? Nothing about like sadness or anything, just complete feeling of just being lost and confused, you know? And I couldn't really point my fingers on what was happening. But going through a retreat by myself, I've figured out the words to define, I think, what was happening. Anyway, in the grind, we lose our way, feeding the machine day by day. Capitalism crawls, pulls us in, the hustle culture where we never win. We pour our energy hoping it might turn humane, conscious, and bring us light. But the system's design is clear to see. It takes, and takes until we cease to be. We lose our grip, but must pretend and say, I'm fine, though we are descending. No sleep, just anxieties hold. Fatigue that rests in the heart grown cold. We drown our pain and drink it all away. Sink deeper, darker, day by day. But in the quiet, a voice calls out, stop, breathe, and breathe, and then breathe. Heal through nature and the earth embrace, in the community and find your place. The voice of God, soft and true, says, look around, I'm here with you. Hear the birds, the ocean's song, see the colors of nature so bright where you belong. Taste the fruits and see the flowers blooms. Look at the smiles that light the way. See the souls, the love they convey. You are not alone and never apart. We share the same breath. So she hears the scars, washes the pain, brings back the joy like the morning rain. Laughter rises deep and true as the sun wakes up, and so do you. Eyes wide open like a child reborn, grateful for this brand new window light and the kingdom of Hawaii for secret and true, for guiding me back to the you I once knew. One village strong, my container, my guide, a visionary with whom I confide. My mentors, the mirrors, the reflection bright, help me find my path and my light, especially to the queens that celebrated and inked my body with the female warrior. In this journey, I found my way to live, to heal, to seize the day. And for every soul that feels adrift, pause, breathe, and feel the shift. I'm right here. I breathe, accepting my calling with an open heart, arms outstretched, ready to hold and heal. We're in this together. Just reach out, and I've been placed in places to feel my own, and in sharing, I have found my own home. So these two pieces are many years apart, right? And I think my words kind of always bring me back to community, sharing, nature, like people around me and all of that. So I found that healing is just a journey, and it's not just necessarily about having a particular therapist. I think we need to shift the way of life in which that the system around us and how we support each other. And to be honest, that is just the reason why after my retreat, I found this calling of being like, I need to have a space, and this space just needs to be for all of us. Abanyarwanda bose n'abadusura ahari simbizi, but just being like, life is hard in itself. I think this year alone, my struggle, for example, is